Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I have yet another movie review, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2013, directed by Calvin Reeder, and this film is called The Rambler. And the story to The Rambler is as follows. An ex-con just released from prison and kicked out of his trailer home goes on a cross-country journey. Along the way, he encounters a depraved American underbelly. Dusty towns, bizarre strangers, sudden violence, and a device that can record dreams onto VHS. So the movie, the Rambler is the main character. He has just been released from prison. He goes home to his trailer to find that he has been kicked out by his cheating girlfriend. So he's got nowhere else to go until he gets a letter from his long-lost brother, who is living on a remote farm many, many miles away. So this letter promises the Rambler a job and an opportunity to get his life back on track. So with no other options, the Rambler chooses to accept this proposal, and so this starts his journey. So to get to this farm, he has to hitchhike his way on the highways, and this is where he's introduced to strange people and equally strange situations that threaten him to basically confront his own demons. So that's all I'm going to give you on the synopsis. If you want to know more, please go out there and see this film for yourself. Now my thoughts on The Rambler. This is one crazy, crazy ride. I haven't seen a movie this bizarre in a very, very long time, and I can understand why on IMDb it got 4.2 out of 10. Now, a lot of films of this nature are very much misunderstood. A lot of people like the generic stuff that you see in Hollywood mainstream. You've got the familiar formula, the familiar, outcomes of the stories. But in this movie, it doesn't seem to have any sort of familiarity of it. It's a very strange, very surreal, vivid nightmare. It's the best way I can describe it. It's like a very crazy dream that you've just had, and you want to pinch yourself to get out of it because it's so uncomfortable. The experience that you have in The Rambler is just truly unsettling, but at the same time, it's very fascinating and captivating because the director has blended so many sort of genres into one film. Now, yes, this is definitely a horror film. I think it definitely warrants a horror tag because there are some truly ghastly moments in it. There's some very, very gory scenes. And I mean, the gore is really well done. It's not done in a comedy kind of way, and it's not done in a cheap way. And that's something that is very impressive about the film, is that it is a low-budget movie, but it actually feels like it's so much more than it actually is, because the scenery, the imagery, the visuals are all very well done, and it felt like a film that was done by either David Lynch or Terry Gilliam or Fabrice de Veltz, all these really surreal filmmakers. It feels like Calvin Reeder was a fan of these filmmakers, and he's made a movie that hasn't ripped off them, but has taken a lot of influence from them, and he's made it into a film that just feels so surrealistic that it has to be seen to be believed. Now, there are problems to the film, and I think the biggest problem is it doesn't really follow a formula. It doesn't follow a structure. It feels like it's a movie that lacks discipline. But for some reason, it really works, and I think the reason it works was because the characters were so well done. This is a comedy, this is a horror, this is a drama, this is a romance. It's so many genres put into one, and I think that the reason the movie, although it is messy, the reason the movie works and it does gel is the fact that each character has their own characteristics, it has their own attributes, and they're all colourful and they all stand out from one another, and they're so well done is that you want to see how these people interact with each other. And it's the interactions between these people that are so funny, that are so scary, and even some romance between the Rambler and this love interest that I thought was really well done, because it doesn't feel like romance, even though it is, if you know what I mean, because there's that overwhelming sense that underneath is something truly sinister. So the characters were really, really well drawn out. I thought that there were some genuinely funny moments in the film. I thought the Rambler was playing a really cool sort of guy. Dermot Mulroney plays the Rambler. He's kind of like a Paul Newman character, where he's really cool, nothing seems to faze him, but he has that certain level of dopiness to him where he seems a little bit clumsy sometimes. So he's the kind of hero that he actually thinks he's a lot cooler than he actually is, if that makes sense. And I thought his character was really funny, but it was done in a subtle way for him. Then you've got the crazy offbeat sort of characters, such as the guy who's made this machine that can record people's dreams onto VHS. You don't really get an insight into why he wants to make this machine, but he was really funny. Then you've got the guy who the Rambler meets in a poker game that was really untrustworthy, and just the way he actually confesses that he's untrustworthy was really funny. And it just feels like you're in a dream, a really bad dream, and it feels like the director he's actually taken a dream from inside of his head, he's splashed it onto the screen. He says, all the rules are out the window, we don't know where this is going to go, I don't even know where this is going to go, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And that's exactly what you have, a lot of fun. But if a lot of people who treat themselves too seriously want a familiar formula, want a movie that is going to make sense, that is going to tie up all loose ends, this is definitely not the movie for you. But if you want one that is different, if you want to experience something other than just crappy remakes or these cheesy romantic comedies, as far as horror is concerned, Independent is where it all lies. It was a risk that I took, but it was a risk that I thought was really well worth the effort. So it's very gory in some scenes, very disgusting too. Not concerning gore, but there's another moment that concerns some bodily fluid that I'm not going to tell you about, but I will say that do not eat dinner while you watch that scene. In fact, don't eat dinner while you watch the whole movie, because it is quite disgusting. It's extreme, but it's done in a way where you don't know whether to laugh at it or to be scared at it. And it just gives you that overwhelming, oh God, I'm in a really bad dream, please wake up, please wake up. It's that kind of feel. So the movie is very messy. It doesn't follow doesn't follow a story that makes sense. It doesn't promise to make any sense, and it doesn't try to be anything that it's not. So I like the fact that also the director has left little hints into the film that make it, replay value. So I don't know if the movie is supposed to make sense underneath if you keep watching it and pick up little things that you haven't seen before, because there are indications in the movie that it makes you want to do that. But I don't know if that's a joke, sort of, to make you keep watching it, but you're really not getting anywhere because the movie's not supposed to make sense. But I don't know if that's the intention, but yeah, it does warrant more viewings, just in case you're onto something. So, Dermot Mulroney, Lindsay Filsifa, and Natasha Lyonne. Haven't really heard about these actors, but they are pretty big as far as American television is concerned, I've been told. So, it's really good to see that not mega stars, but these well-known actors have come back to support independent filmmaking. Calvin Reeder has delivered a very memorable experience. It's an experience that I would say very, very confusing, but at the same time, it's just, as a reviewer, it feels like I'm retelling a dream that I've had. We've all had that dream where we go to our friend and we say, you're never going to believe what dream I had. You tell the dream, and then you just laugh hysterically because it made no sense. It was just completely nuts. That's the way that this movie is. It's just completely nuts. Doesn't really make any sense, but for some reason it works so well in my opinion. I can see a lot of people hating it, but because it's so weird and because it's so nasty as well, I really enjoyed it. So as a result of all that, I'm giving it 3.5 stars. It's definitely coming recommended from me. Alright guys, it's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies and I'll see you later.